My name is Joshua Stahan, aka Zio or Nightmare, and I'm a Krumper from Brooklyn, New York.
What was it like growing up in Brooklyn?
Growing up in Brooklyn was a good and bad experience, you know. It helped me a lot with creating my character for dancing and just like shaping who I am, the good stuff and the bad stuff that I've been through, fights and whatnot, arguments, everything. It helped me like piece together the person that I wanted to be, and it helped mold you. Wherever you come from, you always want to have something to look back on. You want to have something to just like have a story, and like basically like Brooklyn is my story.
So when did you realize that dance was not just a hobby? When did it become a way of life for you?
Let me see. I actually had like a major turning point because half of my life was really devoted to like art. I was like heavy into art, drawing, painting. Like I was geared up for like a full scholarship when I was only in junior high school for Savannah College, like just off art. And when I got into high school, you know, my body started changing. I got a little bit taller, so like dancing was always something that was in me. And you know, it was like I experimented with it, and it was like the turning point where I really said this is something I want to do. I remember me and like 4 friends for like a school talent show. When Usher Yeah first came out, they was like, yo man, let's throw something together, like 20-second little piece or whatever, and let's go out there and do it. So I'm nervous as heck. I was like, I don't know man, I'm not that good, you know, as everybody else. So he was like, nah, come on, let's do it. So we did it in like 20-30 seconds. We went out there, and the first time I was dancing on stage, I had my hat tilted low over my eyes, and I was just moving and just grooving, and like that feeling was like, there was no other feeling like it. Like I wanted to experience that again and again, you know. So it was like every time I dance, that same feeling is what I yearn for, and for people when they watch me, I want to give them that same feeling.
Talk about some of the dance styles you know how to do, and also lead up to the main style, Krumpin', and talk about the origins of how, you know, how it started out there in LA, and now, you know, what it's doing now in the East Coast and how it's making big waves.
The main style of dance I do is Krump, but I started off doing just regular hip hop and just like popping, you know, because my life is basically influenced around the early 80s. You know, I was born in the late 80s, but I really would say I'm a 90s kid because I grew up in the 90s, but I had older brothers and older cousins that used to put me onto all that old stuff. And popping is just something that like, I don't know, I like, you know, just the feeling like those hits, that motion. I like that, you know, just the thought of being animated. I feel like popping is just like a characteristic, you know, it's a character you can play. And I was trained a little bit, you know, for like 2 months, I say, in like tap, ballet, and jazz and all that. Because my dance teacher in high school, she kind of forced me to do it because she just wanted me to have the knowledge of that. She knew where I was coming from, but she wanted me to have the knowledge of and the understanding so that when those questions arose or when I was tackled with that, I would know what to do in that situation, you know, if I was ever asked those questions, or if somebody wanted to be like, do you know what a tandu is, or do you know what this is, you know, just so I can hold my own in, you know, in a mainstream setting. And Krump became my main style actually the day I saw Rise. You know, I've been Krumping since the day that movie came out. It came out in 2005. I don't remember what day, but I remember my dance teacher taking the whole class to see that movie, and we were in the movie theater, and me and my friends are just like, yo man, this is it. Like, this is something new. We want to do this. Nobody's doing it. Nobody knows what it is. So we literally went home. I downloaded the whole soundtrack to Rise. I went outside, put the CD in the radio, and just started throwing my arms, whatever I could do, just to think it was Krump, and that's what I was doing. It was like, it was just that crazy. Like, we didn't know what to do out here because that's what we saw. And the more we got into it, the more we saw the evolution. Like a couple months later, we caught some videos on YouTube of Tight Eyes and Little C, you know, at this session, and like the whole style was different. You know, they were doing different moves, and we never seen anything like this. So we was like, yo man, we want to get better too. Like, that's not fair. Like, how are they doing all this? They adding all this stuff. So we just kept watching all the videos we could and just watch the advancement. Not so much taking the moves, but just watching what we could do so our minds could expand on the movements. And out here we get a different feel, because out here we kind of develop like we do what we want attitude. Like we have the foundations of Krump, but it was more like, yo, we want to put more into it. We want to put what we already know into Krump. And out here it's just that, you know, like a lot of us play characters. Like my style is like character. Like I like playing, like I have a whole character about me. I have a whole persona shift when I dance. So everything about me is a character. And I think if you dance and you don't have a character, in general, any type of dance, if you don't have a character, then you know you're not gonna be, you know, successful in dancing. Because if you can't give somebody an emotion from what you're doing, then you know I can't say like you're really not dancing with a passion. Because if you can't make somebody feel your passion every time you dance, then like you're not doing it. And like that's how I feel. Like every time I step foot and you know that circle, like Krumpers, we have things called sessions, and the session is the same as a cipher. It's usually I set up like a half circle and one person dances on a circle, and you just go, you know. And I could tie it into African dance, because in African dance, you know, it was like the chanting and the movements are really just, it's real pure, raw. The movements is really raw, and it's more about your body art, like the art of the body. Like it's not about, you know, how breakdancing is like flashy moves, and you know, it's not about it's not about your agility with a spin or the quickness of a step. In Krump, it's about your passion. Everything comes from within. With b-boying, it's the outside, it's the outer look, you know. And b-boying, people are like, they're seeing your passion. In Krump, we want you to feel what we feel. We want you to feel our passion. So what we got inside, we want to push that inside of you. So it's about how you can express yourself. Like the more you can express yourself, the more you can make somebody feel. And that's like heavy on like how we're Krump is, and that's why it's tied so deeply into African culture. Because you know, when somebody dances, you got these things called hype ups, where it's like chants and you're just like yeah, you know, you're cheering people on. So what you want them to do is you want them to take your energy and receive that, and then you're pushing that energy right back out. So they're feeling that energy tenfold, and it just goes right back and forth. So basically, like Krump on the East and the West it's the same in terms of like, you know, it's Krump. But the feeling that we get out here, you know, like I feel like the feeling is coming more natural to us, because you know, we like New York and the East Coast, like that vibe of just the East Coast. Everybody wants to be East Coast, whether they say it or not. Everybody wants to be New York City. Everybody wants to be Brooklyn. You know, Biggie. You know, everybody just wants to have that swagger we have. You know, something about New York City, you know, or the East Coast in general. It's just we have the whole way about going things to just shape it. You know, we change things and make it our own, to where people look at it and they go, I want to do that. You know, even if it's something that they were already doing, they want to make it look like they was doing it on the East Coast. You know, even you know, I say the main, you know, one of the main creators of Krump, you know, Ty-Daz himself, his character right now is NY. He calls himself NY, you know, NY Madness. And his whole style is supposed to be an East Coast character. You know, his character is supposed to reflect over here. So we already have that, you know, so we didn't have to reflect something that we already are. We just dance. So all we have to do is be ourselves and be extra.
Talk about some of your inspirations throughout your career, and also talk about your career, some of your accomplishments.
Okay. Let's see. Some of my biggest inspirations, you know, of course, Michael. You know, that's just, if I don't say Michael, you know, you can't throw it in there. You know, rest in peace to Michael. And my inspiration was not the same way. I would say not the same way that everybody's inspiration was of Michael. Not because he was a dancer, but it's something about Michael, like. You gotta understand, man, Michael just had a way of touching people, like, through his music. Like, you can listen to a Michael song and feel some sort of way. Like, whenever Michael is feeling in a song, or like, you could hear his soul through the music, you know, like, and that's an inspiration to me on that level, because if you can make somebody feel something through music that passionately, to where when they see you in person, they just want to pass out, you know, that's crazy. Another couple of inspirations I have, let's see, not actually Busta Rhymes, you know, and there's a lot of music, because Busta, you know, that outstanding character is something, you know, I was known for. Like when I was a kid, everybody used to call me the loud mouth. You know, I'm just really loud and active, so I tie that into all of my movements. You know, my movements are really loud and expressive. Also, in terms of dancing wise, Let's see, coming up, I could say, you know, it's like Boogaloo Shrimp, you know, just because he just had that, you know, that charisma, you know, back then that still people are looking for today, you know. Bop and Andre, like his way of just making people like perceive like just the abnormality of the way he danced. Another inspiration now, in like a new inspiration who I actually got to meet is Mad Chad, because he's, you know, he kind of he's like a, what I would say, like a true new schooler, somebody that really went back and did his studies and actually got to train with a lot of the older cats, and like who took his time to perfect his craft to where, you know, he's known for that. You know, like this is what he's famous for. You know, he's accomplished things because of what he did, you know, because of the person that he wanted to be. And some of my accomplishments, I did some music videos. I work with some music video people. Chitty Bang, the opposite of adults, his first music video. He's from Philly. He got big out here in America. No, he got big in the UK. I'm sorry, he got real big in the UK. He came out here to shoot a music video, and the music video was just like, you know, shot a couple of hours in the school, and it kind of just went viral from there. Like everybody like just loving the music video. Within a couple of weeks, it had over 1 million hits, and it's still running. I did a music video with for Step Up 3D soundtrack. Liza Morgan, this girl. A couple of scenes in Step Up 3D as a featured background person. G for Now, I'm Cocky. Just recently finished shooting a video for this new guy, Mighty, Turn It Up. A Reebok national commercial I did, which was 2 different campaigns they had me run. One was a pitch campaign for like internal use, and the other one ran on the website for about a year, which they just took down. And that was actually pretty cool, you know, just like by the graces of God, I got that, and it's still, you know, just still making accomplishments. You know, I'm still trying to get out there, get tied in with an agency, and I just want to be that person like who people look up to and still remains himself. Like I want to be that person who, even if you see me on stage at an award show behind somebody, I could get off that stage and come back to the hood and be like, yo, son, it was crazy, you know. I want to be that type of person, like to still connect with the community no matter what. Like, I don't ever want to be that person to, you know, look down on somebody. Like, in fact, I would be the person to go to the people who are looked down upon, or the people who are not getting out there, and pull them out, you know, from the bottom, because I know how it is on the bottom. You know, like being here is a struggle. So rather than watch somebody struggle 3 times as hard, you know, why not help a hand? You know, why not lend a hand? You know.
All right, and the final question: if you had the chance to be in Madison Square Garden and it was packed, full of up-and-coming dancers and full of all the OGs of all the other dance styles, popping, locking, breaking, flexing, all these styles, crump, you had a chance to talk to all these people, what would you say to them?
My only, you know, my thoughts on that would be like, I would just say, you know, just be knowledgeable. Be knowledgeable of all these other styles that are out and learn them. You know, like you don't have to necessarily do it. Learn it. Be knowledgeable of it. Find out where it comes from. Find out why we do it, why they do it. You know, because a lot of people, especially with crump, because it's new, a lot of b-boys are giving it, you know, a lot of hate because they came out with the whole breaking versus crumping DVD, and they breakers feel like, oh, we've been out too long. But it's like, it's not about what's been out longer, it's about your passion, you know. Somebody could be dancing for 16 years, and there's somebody who just came off the street and dancing for 2 days. If their passion drives them so hard that in 2 days they learned all that they could, you know, it's gonna show, you know. And I've had that experience, so all I would just say is just be knowledgeable of it, you know, understand it. Don't just shun it because you don't understand it or because the movements look different and it's not your style. Just understand it, be knowledgeable, and just be accepted, you know, because we're the same way your dance style was coming up, we're coming up, or that style is coming up, that person is coming up. You were once in their shoes, you know, so just be mindful of where everything is coming from. Everything has a background, you know, contribute to the growth, you know, just contribute to growth.
Okay, and how could the people find you?
You can look me up on YouTube, youtube.com/O0XEO Nightmare, 0OXEO Nightmare. You can follow me on Twitter, StupidX10, Facebook.com/ZO Nightmare, XEO Nightmare. Yeah, man, just look up YouTube, type in ZO Nightmare, I'll pop up, Google it, I'll pop up, and email me, xeoinmotion@AOL.com. If you're trying to book me, just check me out.
Any shout outs you want to give?
Yeah, man, definitely first and foremost, I want to, you know, bless and shout out to DanceMogulMagazine for having me. You know, it's a real good thing that they're doing. That they just want to have me here, you know, and just up and coming people. You know, shout out to my group EO Squad, shout out to BAM. Shout out to the East Coast Crump movement, you know, West Coast Crump movement. Shout out to dancers alike, you know what I'm saying? And this is what we do, man. Dance, it's the dance life. We love it, we live it. It's our passion.